Hey everybody, Gary here with Pow Music, and in this video we're going to listen to and learn how to play Josie by Steely Dan, starting with hearing Dean Parks play that iconic intro in a recent interview he did with Vertex Effects. He's the original guitar player on that studio recording, and I took that little clip and added our fretLIVE animation so you could actually see the chord shapes, see the melody, the intervals, and understand the underlying context. So we're going to start there, then we're going to listen to the rest of the song, talk about why it's so great. And one of the things I'm excited to share with you is this Steely Dan chord. Nice. There's that Steely Dan chord. So we take that voicing and then move it down a whole step. Instead of A over D, it's going to be G over C. And then we do the same thing, but on the next string. And it looks different because of the displacement. Rick Beato talks about how Steely Dan uses this so much. And this song, it's used over and over again in some different voicings. So I'm excited to share that with you. But first, let's start by checking out Dean Parks playing that intro with the fretLIVE. Here we go.
Dean.
So off the bat, what I love about this is that the intro is so quirky and kind of weird and unpredictable, and there's all these different chords. And then the verse is so simple and grounded in this sort of one chord loop. So it's a great contrast, and contrast is one of the best ways to make music interesting. So with all this stuff, you really want to know the rhythm. And in my opinion, learn the rhythm before learning the notes. And the best way to do that is just see if you could hum it in time, especially keeping a metronome to yourself. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, do dum bum bum bum, do da 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 da, boo da 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 da. I'm not putting pressure on myself to have good pitch. I just want to make sure I have the rhythm, right? So there's some cool rhythms. This whole part is quarter note triplets. So that's over 1, 2, 3, 4, dot 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 dot. 6 over 4, super cool, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey guitar friends, if you want to follow along with my complete song tab, you can do so by clicking the download link in the description and becoming a Pow Music patron. By signing up for only $5, you can get instant access to all of the tab, lessons, and resources I've ever posted on the site over the last 7 years. All tab I post is as both a PDF and a GP file that you can play in a tab playing program, and you'll also be able to join me for twice weekly live small group guitar hangouts if you join at the $10 level. If you're looking to be able to fully connect the music you learn and create with the underlying theory and take your fretboard fluency to the next level, come join my next fretLIVE fretboard mastery program with 40 other students, which runs every few months, or get instant access to the self-paced version of the program. You'll find a discounted link to both in the description below. If you're just getting started on your guitar journey, I'm also a teacher for Guitar Tricks, an amazing website with step-by-step courses in rock, country, blues, guitar fundamentals, and a library of high-quality song lessons rated by difficulty. Use my link in the description for a free trial. All right, let's get back to the lesson. So the key of the song is E minor. And we start with this E minor 7 interval, right? Here's the full chord in that position. But we just start with the root and the 7th. And Dean's using hybrid picking. So he's playing 2nd fret of the D string, picking that, and then using his middle finger to play that minor 7th. Then from there on, we've got a series of just power chords, roots and fifths, right? So then we go to an F sharp power chord. So in that video, he's playing it like this, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the D string and index finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. And we start by playing the notes separate, do da da, and then together. And I'm using that hybrid picking. Now that 2nd chord, you could play it like this. I saw, for instance, Rick Beato play it that way. He went. So that's a more traditional way to play a power chord, is across 2 strings, not skipping a string. But we see Dean stay in that position. And there's, you know, advantages to staying in position too. It's easier, you don't have to move, but you have to skip a string. Then we go to a D sharp power chord to an E power chord. So then we do that again, but after the E flat, we go to a B power chord, and then to a D power chord. And both of these would be in the key of E minor. But then we do this. Now you'll see Dean's a big thumb player. I'm not going to use my thumb, but you could use your thumb. And we play E, and then we play the 4th of E down to the major 3rd. But the way that I'm seeing that is it's walking down chromatically. It's going to the minor. It's walking down to the minor 3rd. So it's sort of a chromatic thing, but the way, instead of playing the open G, he plays the bass note G. Right? G is the minor 3rd of E, but it's also the relative major of E. And these notes that he plays make a G major 7 chord. That's a really cool way to play a G major 7 chord. G is the root, and then F sharp, the 7th, and then B is the 3rd. If you add that G string, that's a super cool sound, because then you get the half step between the 7th and the root. So that's just a takeaway for me, is this cool major 7 chord. And then if you want, you could add the 2nd fret of the high E string, get that 7th again. Love it. Anyway, we go. And then this chord sequence. So this section, if you listen to the recording, the lowest note is going to be F, F sharp, G, G sharp. But Dean only plays that F sharp, and then he abandons the lowest note, you know, because he's got a full band and stuff. Doesn't necessarily need it, but gets the same kind of sound. We could go like that, but way easier how Dean did it. So I'm sticking with his way and leaving out that lowest note, leave that to the bass player. Here's the first taste of the Steely Dan chord as I'm describing it. This would be the full version. So as you can see, that 3rd fret of the high E string is not played here, but it's part of the sound. You're going to hear this chord throughout the song. But Dean just plays these 3 notes. But you could also play... Technically, it's like a C major triad with the 4th in the bass or an F in the bass. Now this note, the F natural, is not in the key of E minor. It would be the minor 2nd, so that chord sounds kind of jarring. The chord C is, but if we want to play the Steely Dan chord, we've got to put the 4th in the bass. And my point is, like, a lot of guitar playing is about gestures and grips, and moving things we know around the neck. And I don't know Steely Dan's process, but perhaps they, you know, they just went with what sounds cool, and it's mostly tonal, but there's these cool surprise notes that are in there, right? So C over F. Now, the way that it sounds is more like a major 7 sus2. Let me explain. If F is the root, we've got the 5th, the major 7th, and the 2nd. Root, 5th, 7th, 2nd. So it has a major 7 sound. Like here's a full F major 7. And here's the major 7 sus2 without the 3rd. So that's sort of the dominant sound, but the easiest way to sort of think about it and talk about it is just a C major with an F in the bass. So you could think of it in either way. Different musicians are going to just define it differently, but the sound is the sound, right? Okay, so we start with that chord. But again, notice it's a power chord shape, right? These grips and gestures on guitar, and when we move them to different string groups, they have different sounds, particularly because the B string is tuned differently. So for instance, if I play that on the A, D, and G strings, it's just a regular power chord. But if I move it down to the D, G, and B, it's root 5th, 7th instead of root 5th octave. This is root 5th octave. This is root 5th, 7th. And then this, which is the next chord, is actually root flat 5 and 7. But in the context, it's this chord. What you'll hear on the album in the full band context is an F sharp, 7 sharp 9. So it ends up being root 3rd, flat 7, sharp 9. That's the Hendrix chord. You could play it up here too. Rick Beato plays it up here, right? The Hendrix chord, we often think of it on an E, like. But on the top 4 strings, it looks like this. But you know, Dean Parks is being pragmatic. This is a much harder grip than just this. And as guitar players, we don't always have to play all the notes, right? So we've got just basically moving the power chord that you probably learned early on when you're playing. It's that shape. Sounds really complicated, but it's that power chord grip we all know and love. And then a D, but if you listen to the studio recording or other versions, you'll hear D over G. And this is again that same chord, just in a different grip, that Steely Dan chord. So what is it? D major triad with the 4th in the bass. What's the 4th of D? G. In context though, if G is the root, it's root 2nd, 5th, 7th. So again, this is a G major 7 sus2, or just a D over G, but Dean in this video is just playing the top 3 notes without the G on the bottom. But if you listen to the recording, you're going to hear F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Okay, and then the last chord is basically like an A flat 6, but we take that root on top and put it down to a major 7th. Like that. Right, because here's an A flat major. Here's the triad. 1, 3, 5. Instead, we play the 6, 1, 3, 6. And then instead of playing the root, play the 7th. And then Dean just plays top 3 strings like this. So putting that together, it's. So that last chord is on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and yeah. Before we go on, let's just play the entire intro with counting so that we make sure we're really locking in with the beat. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Then he gets into. Okay, now that, I've never seen somebody have such a severe thumb over. My fingers can't do that. I felt instant jealousy. And then his index finger being so flat. I mean, I have a fat neck guitar, but even if I didn't, I'm just going to come clean and say that is really hard for me. So I don't play an E minor 7 like that. So my E minor 7 is going to be traditional. I'm just going to bar the 7th fret, and then I'm going to play the 8th fret of the B string with my middle finger, and then the 9th fret of the D string with my ring finger. And then I'm going to focus on just strumming the top 3 strings because he really just plays that triad. I suppose you could go. That's another way. You could just grab a D shape without a bar and then use your thumb to mute the E string. So you go. Or so the rhythm there, if you play the bass note, is on the 1, and then the strums start on the 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And I don't think you need to play that low E string. I think Dean's trying to give us a little more, since it's just him solo guitar. He's trying to give us a little more context, right? So he was adding that in. So the strumming there is in slow motion: 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... So it's like down, up, mute, up, up. So it's down, up, and then a little mute. And to get that mute, I'm just releasing the pressure. Right? Down, up, mute. Releasing the pressure in my left hand to get the mute sound. Gives it that funky thing. And then ups after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Nice. All right, so to learn the rest of the song, let's listen to the actual album. Let's take it right from where Dean left off, and let's listen to that E minor 7 intro into the verse. So funky. After that intro, like, it just feels so settling. Like if the song started here, it wouldn't be as strong. Okay, then the vocals come in. Nice. There's that Steely Dan chord. The vocals come in, we do 6 bars on the E minor 7. Then on the 7th and 8th bar, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So on the 1 and the end of 2. But here's a new voicing of this chord. So what we have here is an A major on the top 4 strings. And then in a D in the bass. So an A over D. So again, the major chord A and the 4th of that chord, which is D, A, B, C, D. But in context, the sound is more a D major 7 sus 2. Root, 5th, major 7th, 2nd. There's the 2. And the 5th. Right? It doesn't sound like an A major. This is an A major. And then this is the chord we're playing. Right? That lowest note changes everything. Okay, so we take that voicing and then move it down a whole step. Instead of A over D, it's going to be G over C. And then we do the same thing, but on the next string. And it looks different because of the displacement of the B string. So instead of being shaped like this, it was shaped like this. And so we played that one earlier on the F in the very beginning when we went. So it's that voicing again, but now up here. And this is going to be a D major. And what's the 4th of D? Over G. D over G. But in context, it's really G major 7 sus 2. Root, 5th, 7th, 2nd. and then move that down a whole step, right? Like just gestures, grips, sounds that we can mix together. Like they're treating this chord almost like a power chord. And our ears are like, whoa, that sounds crazy, right? Sounds so cool. But it's just a sound and a chord they liked, and they just explored mixing it into this song in so many different ways. Okay, so putting the whole verse together after the intro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's hear that and then hear the second half of the verse. Second half. Chord change. Now watch. 1, 2, 3. And that's the end. Okay, cool. So we got a lot of cool stuff there, but nothing new really. We're going to work with that Steely Dan chord over and over. So second half of the verse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A7. And then, so that's G over C. We played that already. Or we could say C major 7 sus 2, however you want to think about it. And then back to D over G to C over F. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's a few ways to play this. We could go, instead of this, we could do it here. Or Rick Beato goes like this. He plays it like this. That's another way to play it. Right? So that is a G over C. So that's the cool thing about theory, is when you see intervals, you can find things on your own. You could move things around. Knowing the context, of course I could find all the notes, but you know, a little understanding just propels you forward faster. And that's what I'm trying to help you with these kinds of lessons. Okay, now the last little bit of the verse leading into the chorus. Okay, this is the part we just learned. Now watch this. So the end of the verse sounds awesome, also simple. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that brings us to the chorus. Now, when I first heard this, I'm like, oh, how am I going to learn all those chords? But once I realized it's just these same chords just moved around almost like power chords. It's super cool. So it's E minor 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, then the same major 7 sus 2 chords, but this time instead of going D over G to C over F, we go D over G to E over A. So here's the E major triad, and here's the fourth in the bass A. Or again, we could think of this as A major 7 sus 2. Sounds really cool from the E. Almost like a key change. And the rhythm is really easy here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that there looks like dog needs to go out. And then the second time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 1, 2, 3, 4, hit the E minor 7 again, and then just go up a half step and play a C over F. Now, that's a cool transition chord because that's going to set us up for the chorus, which is going to start up a half step. So it's like a little chromatic now the first chord of the chorus. So I realized I forgot to do a full playthrough of the verse, so I just cobbled together pieces of all the stuff you just saw to do a full playthrough timed with the actual album. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, A7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. So let's listen to the chorus.
When Josie comes home, when Josie comes home, so good. She's the pride of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
She's the raw flame, the live wire. She prays like a Roman with her eyes on fire.
Nice, jazzy. This part's the most jazzy. So the first 4 chords are pretty easy because they stay in position. So we've got an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And so it's like an F sharp minor 7, but we flat the 5. Pretty easy grip. Okay, then we have a B7 sharp 5, B7 altered chord. And this is just a 2-5-1 to E minor. So in jazz, when we have a minor chord, we got a minor, the 2 is a minor 7 flat 5, the 5 can be a sharp 5, a flat 9, a sharp 9, but we've got minor 7 flat 5, sharp 5 to the E minor 7, and then we lead up back to where we started in the same way that we did at the end of the verse with the C over F, and then that leads us back into the same movement. But the second time, instead of going back to the C over F, we go to an A7. So let's take it right at the top of the chorus on the F minor 7 flat 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A7. Now we got the live wire. Dun, dun. The rhythm's going to be a little different, and we got some new chords, and that's the end of the chorus. So the second half, after we get to the A7, then we're going to play an A minor 7, make it minor, and do a 2-5-1 to G major 7. So A minor 7 is a 2, D7 is the 5, or you could play D9. Here I like the D7 because it sounds more da da. I just feel like it sounds better. And then a G major 7. But now we're going to go to C major 7, which is the 4 chord in the key of G. So this is all like kind of key of G, which is the relative major of E minor. So it's actually part of the key that we're in. So in the key of E minor, this is all diatonic. 2-5-1 to G to 4, 2-5-1-4. But then now we go back to the chord we played early in the song, this chord. But I'm going to play it here. F sharp 7 sharp 9, and we play on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the rhythm there goes with the vocals. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I think I'm going to play it like that. It's less muddy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So F sharp 7 sharp 9, and then B7 sharp 9, which we can do right here. Or we can go down to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so then the second verse is exactly the same, and then we go into that interlude. Doo-doo, wow, wow. That pregnant pause. Like, this song is so good at having moments of space and calm, moments of movement and complexity and this contrast. And the transition from part to part is pretty stark, which is cool. So like going into this interlude, it just comes in at a left field. So this is all E minor pentatonic stuff. Awesome little simple pentatonic riff, but with great rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up high, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's that awesome pregnant pause. Drummer stops. The whole band listens and gets back in. But this time it's on beat 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And let's hear that second guitar. Here we go. Yeah. So in between, we've got this another couple guitars, 2 guitars bending, like, and that kind of thing. But I'm going to play it like. So what I'm doing there, and maybe with a little whammy action, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then after that is the solo, which is over the verse progression. And that we're going to go over in a different lesson. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Before I go, I just want to extend a big thank you to the POW Music patrons that make this free content on YouTube possible, and an extra special thanks to the following upper tier POW Music patrons: Liam LL, Bent Burhoy, Hendrik Lange, Tina Caballero, Stephen Hudak, Joey Pueblo, Christian, Jeffrey R. Davis, Jesus, Jacob Jenkins, Angel Resto, Michael DeToma, Ciaran Caruthers, Carl Driscoll, Sean, Edmund Trusty, Greg Payne, Carlton Hicks, Sean Westfall, Dr. Ixlan, Edward Yusum Ching, Hal Jones, Dmitry Unkovsky, Greg, Jeff, Wayne Evans, LW, Dave Hubner, Jim McGinnis, Kay Carter, Steve C., Jens Fischer, Joseph Alpert, Jesse Jacobs, Marcelo Barbara, William Creighton, Homer Sanchez, Donald James Grass, Stephen Pisano, Trampus Thompson, John Cushman, Sean Ellis, and AJ Miller. Thank you all so much for your ongoing support. It means the world. It allows me to do this full time. Thank you so much. I hope to see all of you at upcoming live Zoom guitar hangouts. Please take advantage, come hang out. Would love to see you there soon. Thanks to all the POW Music patrons. Happy playing, and I'll see you guys next time.